Hi there, welcome back to this week's The Conductors podcast. This is your host, Chao Wen-Ting.
Hi, this is Lily again. Welcome back. Today you will learn about me. I do not like eating a still. I like eating popsicles still. I like reading, watching TV, playing, and also I like annoying my sister. Bye. Today we have a special guest.
Bye, my name is Lisa, and my sister is very annoying, and I like mango ice cream. Hi.
Hello. So this is what you get when you have both kids sick at home with stomach flu. Anyways, welcome back and thank you so much for being here with me. Our topic today is audition. Last 2 weeks, we listened to the conversation between myself and my good friend Kevin Fitzgerald, and he kindly shared with us his experiences with auditions. So I wanted to talk about audition a little bit because that had been something that really troubles me. I always felt that audition was like a show. It's very fake because when you're auditioning, you're trying to show the best you are, but your best is not always only depending on you, if you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes a great rehearsal is the chemistry and the achievement that you arrive with your ensemble. So there's actually another partner that is extremely important in having a great rehearsal. So even if we work so hard, we do everything, we crack jokes, we talk about things, we show the styles, we do have our best conducting techniques, it can still be a crappy rehearsal because the musicians are not responding. So I was always really confused of how I am approaching an audition because I'm not really having a concert. So if I take so much time to change the style, to change the way they approach the music because they might have learned it from a previous conductor, they might have just played a concert with the same repertoire. What was the point? I always thought I was doing, useless works until I had the conversation with my friend Tiani Lu. This was the episode number 34 in the first season, titled Psychology, Wellbeing, and Mindfulness on the Podium. So she talked about just sharing your ideas with the musician and take them through the rehearsal period. That really changed my mindset. So Kevin talked about auditioning for professional ensembles. A lot of the time, if you are auditioning for an assistant conductor type of position, you are only given 15 minutes top. Usually 10 minutes is a little short, usually 10-15 minutes, 15 to 20 actually. And you will be asked to do a couple pieces, usually 2 to 3 of various different contrasting styles. And as Kevin said, with professional ensembles, they really want to know your ability of, one, taking them through and showing as much as they can, and two, contribute to some bigger things than, rhythm or notes that we often spend time correcting when we have a student ensemble. So they are good musicians. After a rehearsal or two, usually when you have several rehearsals, you will know after the first run, they get it, and the second time is so much better. So you really don't want to spend time on those little things, but you want to contribute to the bigger pictures. Kevin talked about something that was really great to address in such kind of situation, that is balance. Because really, the conductor is the best person to comment on this because they can really hear how much how loud they are sounding compared to the other line or compared to their sections and all that. So you can always comment on the balance of different sections. The other thing that I would like to say is tempo, because one of the few things that a conductor can contribute is tempo. That of course comes from experience. A lot of the time when you work with especially a more Eastern European orchestra, they tend to be behind the beat. So the sound is not happening with you, and that takes a while to adjust. But the give and take, the influence of tempo and timing is something that you can adjust and you can actually work on. Of course, other stylistic consideration, that is also something you can recommend. We lightly talked about this, but often if you are auditioning for a music directorship, no matter it's with a community group, a community band, a church choir, or a professional orchestra, or an educational position like a college band director position, a college choral or orchestra director, or youth orchestra conductor, you will be given at least one rehearsal to show how you really work with those musicians. Sometimes they even give you a full concert cycle. And depending on their schedule, if they are a community group that meet weekly, you might be coming, every Monday for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, depending on how their schedule is set to prepare for a concert. Or you might come in for a week and they start rehearsal from Tuesday to Thursday and you give a concert on Friday. So you will have a concert cycle to really build some relationship with the musicians. However, more commonly, you will be given one full rehearsal. That can be an hour, 2 hours, or sometimes even 3 hours. That's less common, but sometimes that happens. I think the longest I was given was 2.5 hours. They gave the orchestra member and like an early dismissal, so they get a shorter day, but they were asked to fill up a questionnaire, just kind of to rate the conductor of the day. That is a little more common. So someone asked me, how do I know how much should I talk? That is a big thing because we conductors, we love to talk, and I would say as little as possible, unless it's absolutely necessarily related to the points that you're making. So my general rule is when you are given one rehearsal, of course, it's odd because you are rehearsing a bunch of strangers and you don't have a concert to prepare. So you can't rely on, okay, this will be better this next rehearsal. No, you have to actually make changes. Something has to get better or something has to be changed at the end of the rehearsal compared to where you started. So those are the things to consider, and you want to demonstrate a good representation of how you typically rehearse, right? So if you typically are really clean and you are fast pacing, go ahead and do it. If you tend to spend a little more time, say strings, because that's your specialty, do so. But you want to think about the objectives, the goals of your rehearsal. Several tips that I'm going to share with you when you are given one full rehearsal or even a concert cycle. They're first, only verbally ask for things that you are not already shown in your conducting. What does that mean? So if you're conducting with huge emotions, like you're waving your arms above your head, your right hand is on the left side of your body, and then you say, we are too loud, let's play quieter, quieter, even if you're whispering to your ensemble, you are not asking them to do what you are conducting. That is a no-no. Or if you give a really big gesture and say, oh, that is not soft enough. No, they are not always, musicians are mostly reading their music and listening to their peers. Only very little attention had been given to the conductor. So they pretty much do it by instinct. So you want to make sure that your physicality, what you're physically showing with your conducting, really matches what you're asking. So that comes back to your conducting techniques and your score preparation, of course. I usually recommend refraining from talking too much about historical background stories, unless it's necessary and absolutely related to your point. I say not talking too much because, of course, we're going to talk. But you don't want to spend 20 minutes of your an hour rehearsal talking about, oh no, why this symphony was written. Mozart was on the way to Czech Republic and he was very sick. He spent so and so days in the horse carriage and this happened. Well, unless you're making a point with that, right? So of course, you can talk about historical background. For example, if you were rehearsing Brahms one, I might say, hey, this is the first time that you have a symphony that you're satisfied with, and you wanted the beginning to be grandiose. You want it to be big, huge, and serious. So that's to get this atmosphere and use a lot of bow, a lot of sound, and have really rounded but very full sound, and do not cut the note short. See, I am actually giving comments and demanding on the stylistic requirement of playing that particular music. I'm not just telling a story, and that is actually easier for the members to remember this historical point. Or if I were rehearsing Lily Boulanger, I might say, this piece was written in the set of the morning and the evenings. They were composed in 1917. That's during the wars, and she was suffering from serious illness. So think about the historical background. During Second World War, your family has been destroyed and your health is deteriorating and you are dying. So all this sound of pom, 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 those are sighs. Those are so it has those short breathlessness, and we want to make diminuendo for every single one of them. Make sure the bow speed is faster, but lighter toward the end. And with the wings, just make sure that you don't cut them short, but you make a good diminuendo. Again, I am demonstrating the sound that I'm asking for while making a connection with the historical background that I'm introducing to the musician. So only talk about stories or backgrounds and histories unless it's absolutely necessary and really related to the point that you're making musically. The third recommendation that I usually do is to have a structure of the rehearsal and share it with the musicians. We understand that plans change, but everybody loves to know that you have a plan. And sometimes it's hard to feel. So I would come up and say, hi, my name is Zhao Wenting, and I'm really glad to be here spending time with you for the next hour. We are going to start with Tchaikovsky, and we'll go to Boulanger and touch a few spots. And I would like to wrap up with the third piece, maybe Anna Klein or I don't know, someone else. If I have three pieces, this actually set a great impression that we know what to expect. Even if you ran out of time and you spent too much time on the first piece and you say, okay, change of plan, I thought we could get through this much, but we have to cut it short. It still gives your musicians a good feeling, and you are engaging them and inviting them as part of this planning committee, and no one would reject being included into plan making, right? The last thing I would say is something that I am still working on is when it's not good, ask again. Don't leave things when they're still bad. I know this is something that I still am not very good at because, okay, I'll share with you. There was once recently, a couple months ago, I was a finalist with an ensemble that is like a brilliant ensemble. However, I got stuck in the first piece in a very small part because I started a section that was a little too fast to a little faster than the tempo that I really wanted. And then when I was trying to correct it, the musicians were not adjusting. So I was trying to show the tempo changes and wanted to take time here and there with my gesture, which usually worked. But those musicians didn't really understand what I was asking with my gesture. And that is a wind solo spot. So there was only the oboe, the principal oboe, and the principal flute working in that part for a good 32 measures or so. So I was struggling a little bit with that. I knew that section was still not good. It was not how I wanted to be. This is not how this should be played. And but I didn't want to spend time just working with these two people while most of the people are waiting. I think I'm sometimes a little too concerned about time or too concerned about other people when I should probably just focus on making this music great. So I decided to just let go. I said, okay, let's forget it. This is not exactly yet, but I wanted to save time for the other piece. I think that would have worked if I had a concert cycle, because on the second day we will come back with a fresher mind, and I would have gone through both pieces in my first rehearsal. So that could have been fine if I had more time with them. But actually, I only have a really short time. I forgot it was like 12 minutes, maybe 12 to 15 minutes. And I was getting nervous. I felt pressure of time because I was having only 5 minutes left. And I haven't got to the next piece. I, I, I thought about this a lot and I regretted it. I think I shouldn't have let go, because that set an impression that both I can't fix things, and two, I'm letting go when things are still not good. So that kind of shows that I'm not someone holding to my standard, even though that's not who I am. But I was so concerned about, okay, I wanted to get to the next piece. Um, so that's something that I wanted to share with you. If it's not good, ask. If it's still not good, ask again. Don't leave things when they're still bad. So, just to summarize what we talked about today, um, I believe that you wanted to share your musical ideas with the ensemble in your rehearsal. No matter it's a professional ensemble that just wants you to show your ability of conducting, high caliber musicians and the ability of taking through the music and set styles and set the minimal requirement, or if you were auditioning for a music directorship of some kind that you are given one full rehearsal or several full rehearsals. Be very strategic. Think about what are some musical goals that you want to achieve in this time being, and just demonstrate a good representation of how you typically rehearse. Don't talk too much. Make sure that you do a good preparation. You study your score well. You have your plan for the rehearsal. Share your plan with the musicians, and only talk about stories or how you love this if you're making a musical point. And when it's not good, ask. When it's still not good, ask again. And happy auditioning. See you next week. Bye for now.